when we talk about describing impact and specifically policy impact, think about it in having three components: goals, indicators, and stories. When you're talking about the impact that you could have or that your work has already had, first of all, you want to be clear about exactly what is the impact you're trying to do. What is it you're accomplishing? How does it align? What's the goal it's aligning with? Be very specific and kind of intentional about that. So for goals, for example, it could be some of the things we talked about before about specific questions for governments or priorities at the state level or the national level or the international level if you're in the EU, for example, that your research might align with. And then to back it up with data that's both qualitative and quantitative. So any metrics or indicators that you have, but then also that kind of qualitative stuff around it. Can you use indicators like policy citations, how often you're mentioned in policy, how often you're being used by knowledge brokers and intermediaries and this kind of thing. And then specifically the stories, what are the outcomes that you can kind of describe in human to human, as it were, that aren't necessarily captured by metrics, but are nevertheless very important to that narrative. And they're equally important, right? So people like to have numbers as kind of evidence, but for a lot of impact, you can't really measure it in a quantitative way. You really do need to have kind of a narrative around that.